Hi, I'm Tricia Drake. I'm a business coach, a public speaker, and an EOS implementer. I help leadership teams get unstuck, get them aligned, get them thriving so that the vision that they have for their company isn't just a dream, it's actual reality. This is From Stuck to Scaling, where we talk about getting your business back on track, finding the clarity in your chaos, and really setting you up to reach your company's goals. I want you to achieve everything that you want to achieve out of your business. Our guest on this episode is Mike Hartley. What does he do? Mike is a licensed clinical social worker, so he is a mental wellness expert. He's been doing this a long, long time. He also is a mindset coach, meaning he can really help you change the way that you think about your world, about what's going on in your world, all of these things. He uses what he has learned from the therapy chair for 30 plus years, combining that with a lot of mindset work to really help people reach their potential. Mike is also my husband. So we've been married 4 years now. I stumbled over that a little bit, but that's okay. We've known each other 5 years. We met in June. We got engaged in October, and we got married the next February. It's been a whirlwind for me and an absolute joy to be married to this man. He definitely is the man of my dreams, and I'm super excited to have him on the podcast today. All right, so Mike, everybody knows who you are to me. What do you do? Who is Mike Hartley to the world?
Well, that's a tough question, right? Everybody knows who I am to you. So I guess just a brief history. I grew up in Rexburg, Idaho, of all places, right? In southeastern Idaho. Had typical upbringing, I guess. I did have a little caveat. My father died before I was born, and so it kind of set me on a path of wanting to learn more and more about, psychology and why we work the way we do and why I had abandonment issues my whole life, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, fast forward, typical childhood, ended up deciding to go to college at the University of Utah.
Go Utes.
Go Utes. Down in Salt Lake City. Got my undergraduate in sociology because that's what all the athletes took and it seemed easy. Then I ended up, working a little bit, floundering. I did construction, all kinds of crazy things, but I really wanted to get back into kind of the work of understanding human behavior and understanding why we work the way we do. And so I went to graduate school in social work, got my master's, and then did all the appropriate licensing and core work to become a therapist, which I started back in the late 90s. Yeah. So I've worked with, my history.
I know.
Everybody else doesn't. I've been in the field as a psychotherapist for probably about 34 years going on that. And,
so you basically started when you were like 12, right?
Yeah, because I'm in my early 40s.
Right.
As you can tell by my beard. And that's basically, I did that for many, many years. I owned my own businesses in Idaho Falls, Pocatello, Rexburg, Coeur d'Alene, just kind of all over the state, as you know, and employed lots of very, very talented therapists and community-based workers. And in 2020, decided to kind of sell it and retire, which didn't work out very well. I got bored. And so then we moved on to other things in life. Currently, I'm still doing therapy, as you know. Yep. I see probably 5 to 10 patients a week, somewhere in there, clients. But I did recently start down a new journey of mindset work, as you know. And basically, I met a gentleman out of Salt Lake City who you've known forever, Sean Foyer.
Yep.
He developed a program called the Inner Blueprint, which is basically a mindset restructuring, mindset busting, paradigm busting kind of program. I actually met him through Tricia, through you.
Yes.
A long time ago, but I didn't really buy into the program until we ended up in Croatia last year on a boat with Sean, and they tricked me and into going. Didn't you? You have to admit that.
I did trick you into going. Yeah. But it was fun. It was like walking onto imagine walking into a space it was a yacht, which was so awesome in and of itself, right? Sure. But we walk into this place and just the level of energy in the room and in the area, that what's the word I'm looking for? Just the vibration of people there.
Energy.
I mean, yeah, the energy was just, it was palpable because all of these very creative, powerful people in the same place, all supporting each other in their goals and everything. And I think you were a little surprised. I think I was surprised at your reaction to the people on that trip.
Well, I felt what we call imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
right? I walked onto this boat, which in my mind, I had no right being on, with like 18 very powerful couples, very affluent, very well, powerful in their industry,
Yeah.
very well versed in what they do. And I felt kind of out of place for about 2 hours. And that's the energy of mindset work is, man, you get into it, the energy's there, you just start believing in yourself, and man, it's blown up from there.
For sure.
Hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll mention it. Like I, y'all know that I love my husband. Like he is amazing. And I am just so proud of him. He wrote a book recently, The Work of Being Human. It's amazing. And it's a culmination of 30 years in the therapy room, basically. And it's just been so fun watching you work through this and get it all out of your head onto paper and then redoing it and making it better and, making it count for people. Tell me about the book.
As you know, I mean, first and foremost, I couldn't have written this book without your help. It's going to make me emotional, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just because, I'd had an idea to write a book for years and years. But once again, I didn't feel, who am I to write a book, right? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, right? But yeah, just what I came up with, I went back and went through, years of case notes. Yes, they're HIPAA protected. Thank you. And I went back and went through them and decided, hey, it would be kind of fun to write these composite stories of experiences and dynamics and symptoms and the work of psychotherapy from the therapist's perspective, and kind of how that could relate or resonate with people in general, right?
Yeah.
And I've gotten some really good feedback, a lot of it from my wife. About how it does touch people, and a lot of our friends and peers, people that I've worked with professionally and socially, have given me really good feedback about how, hey, did you write this chapter about me?
Yes.
Like, no, I did not write that chapter about you.
That's the first thing that went through my head. I'm starting to read it, and he told me, right, the composite stories. It's some similar experiences moved into one story, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, are you sure this is other people? Because this book sounds like me. You are talking to me. I'm like, are you sure you didn't write it for me, about me, helping all these people, right?
That would be rude.
I'm sure I'm in there somewhere, but
in some way, right?
Yes.
No, so I've been very fortunate. I'm excited about it. We launched it last week. It's on Amazon. I'm looking at other platforms to put it on just to kind of get a little more exposure, but it's been a lot of fun.
Well, I'm going to talk you into doing the audiobook. I think you have a great voice.
I don't know if I can read my own words for 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever it would take.
That's awesome.
So
That's awesome. All right. So, what do you feel is the biggest accomplishment that you've had over the course of your life?
that's hard to pin down. Children,
Yes.
the three. I raised 6 children. I've got 3 stepchildren. But my children and my grandchildren obviously are my greatest joy. I'm happy and grateful to be in such a wonderful relationship, romantic relationship at this point in my life. We've been together for just over 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
And it's been an amazing experience, having that different perspective. But I would think, family is super important to me. We have lots of good friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love my friends, extended family, your family, right? Give a plug out to the crowd in Utah.
To the Drakes.
To the Drakes in Utah. But I would say just a culmination of all of the things that I think I became vulnerable kind of when I met you, or shortly thereafter,
Okay.
and decided to let life teach me rather than kind of have my defenses up all the time. So I became more vulnerable and started learning from life. My favorite saying is, "Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn." And so in that in that concept, with that concept, you can't ever lose, right? You're either winning or you're learning. So
That's true.
yeah,
Yeah, I love that. I know I often say, man, our paths could have crossed before because we were introduced by a mutual friend. And you'd known him longer than me, and we've gone back over our history saying we could have met right in
at any
before
point,
at
yeah,
any point in our lives. Really, really crazy. But I think um, everything that we lived made us ready for when we did meet each other.
right.
And it was just a kind of a weird chance meeting, and we ended up talking on a 3-hour trip home. I was driving, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
So-
Our just sorry to interrupt. Our go-to song, right? Our couple song is
Yes.
Cody Johnson's "On My Way to You," right?
Yes.
And the song is all about hitting bumps in the road and missing curves and taking corners too fast
Yeah.
but it's okay because that's how we got where we're at.
For
So,
sure. Yeah, and super, super thankful for that.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
it's awesome.
Me too.
So yeah, you've been with me for some very what's the word? Just some extremely crazy stuff over the past 5 years that's happened in our lives since we met.
Oh yeah.
That you've been that support, you've been that rock for me, to really push me through some really hard things. For those of you who haven't heard the story, a year into our marriage, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So really crappy, thing to have happen. But the point in my life when it happened, if it had to happen, that was the perfect time. I had an amazing support system with Mike, my family, just the advances that they've had with trying to cure cancer or at least put you into remission, those things. So, but then after all of that, I was like, hey, I think I'm going to start my own business. So what do you feel about that, Mike?
Yeah, I'm not even sure we were finished with cancer, but when you started your own business, so
Wait, I wasn't. I wasn't. I had learned about EOS, all right, with that story, learned about EOS through Sean Foyer. Some of his clients started implementing it in a couple companies. It was really awesome. And then decided to take the leap to buy my own franchise. So I was actually still in cancer treatment. I had to move one of my cancer treatments to facilitate what we call boot camp as an EOS implementer, which was a little bit nuts. And but dealing with that, getting through that week of just EOS immersion, but the support that you gave me, it's really been awesome. I mean, awesome. I would also not be here without you.
Well, there you go.
100%.
See, we complement each other well.
We do, 100%. So it's just been really amazing to see where I am now based on what I was before, right? I was a great person. I was a great person. I was happy. And you just came in to my life and made it better. Like, you just added to all of that. And I am the luckiest. I am the luckiest girl alive. I really am.
I'm glad you think that.
Yes, I do think that. I know that. I know that for sure. So in talking about business, I would say I built my business, and you totally have supported me throughout that, right? Supporting me money-wise, all of those things, right? When you're trying to bootstrap something, which is great. And now it's kind of funny because we're on the flip side of that. So my business is going great and amazing. And I got a lot of traction, pun intended. And now you're on that side, right? Where you're building, you're doing all of this stuff. And so I want to ask you a couple questions really about that, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So, what do you think that your support looked like to me back then when I was building my business?
Well, I think I viewed my function as a husband supporting an entrepreneur, as just to be the person that underlying concrete slab, right? Just somebody that gives you the ability to fall down if you don't feel like you're doing well, your cheerleader, your foundation, and somebody that's always, or at least attempts to be. I wasn't always perfect at it, obviously, but attempts to be that solid foundation for you. If something's not going right,
Yeah.
if you feel like you're not succeeding, or if you feel like giving up, I always felt my role, and it still is because we're still, supporting each other. I felt my role was to be just that big supporter, your cheerleader. We've got this. Big things you always focus on finances, right?
Yeah.
And logistics and how things get done and how do we make this work and how much are we paying for franchise fees and all of that stuff.
Right.
And I really took on my biggest role as none of that matters. What matters is the energy we put into how you want to succeed at this.
Yeah. Okay. So you've been a therapist for a long time, right? What do most married couples fight about?
Kids, sex, and money.
Ah, there you go. Money.
Money.
It's a fun one.
Yep, the trifecta. You can almost count on it being one or two or three of those things.
Of those things.
Yes.
That's awesome. So, with that in mind, with EOS, you probably know this because we talk about this a lot. I talk EOS all the time, right? So we do something in EOS that's called IDSing. It's the issue solving track, and it's trying to figure out what's the true root of the issue that you see, of that problem. And it's IDSing. You identify the true root cause of your issue. You discuss solves, right? What's the best way to solve this? We're brainstorming. How can we make this problem go away at the root, right? And then the solve part is basically creating a plan of action to then solve the problem, right? So we call it IDS for short. So maybe I would love your input on that. Why do most couples avoid why do most couples avoid issues the same way that leadership teams do? Can you see correlation there between marriage and a leadership team trying to solve their issues?
Right. Issues are scary, right? It's if we pretend that everything's okay, and we play small, then everything's okay in our head, right? We don't have as far to fall. In couples therapy, I always talk about the 3 C's: communication, compromise, and capital. Obviously communication is key, and there's 100 different types of communication styles. What's your love language? The old catchphrase. So that's something that we work on fairly intricately. Compromise, it's not just my way or the highway. And then capital, how much do I invest in this relationships? How much am I willing to put in? How much work, emotional time, emotional value do I put into this relationship? And I think it's probably similar in a business setting.
Yeah.
Being willing to tackle issues openly with good communication, with good compromise, investing the right amount of capital into that business and the business structure. I think so. Yes, I agree. I concur. They're very similar.
Very similar. I think sometimes that's one of the hardest things so I will be a little vulnerable here. That's really hard for me to be vulnerable with you sometimes. But what I've learned is that it helps move things along so much faster.
It bridges the gap.
It does, because you can figure out this is what her real issue is, right? Instead of me just saying, oh, I'm fine. Or
I'm fine.
Oh, I'm fine. I'm just a little tired or something. But if I'm willing to dig deep to say, hey, this is what's on my mind. These are the issues that I'm having right now. This is why I look like I'm really, really angry, because I am. And I think trying to get leadership teams with EOS and in any system, right, to really be okay with being vulnerable in the room. Right? Not trying not to be like, oh, I'm going to look stupid, or people are going to think less of me. People are going to think that I'm weak because I'm saying, look, I'm struggling with this part of my job, or I don't know how to do this, or I'm struggling with the person across the room from me, across the table. One thing I like to say is that we want to attack the issue, not attack the person. Right? It's sitting in between us. And so we can focus on that instead of putting all of our anger or whatever it is towards the person that you're looking at. And yeah, bridging that gap. So I think there's a lot of things that you can learn from marriage or couples counseling or therapy that can be brought into how to be a better leadership team, how to communicate better, how to be more vulnerable, open and honest, right? We're always talking about being open and honest with that. So I love that.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
When you think about trust allowance, right? How much you vulnerability breeds trust. It allows somebody to say, this person trusts me enough to show me that part of them. And it's endearing, and it does bring both, businesses and relationships alike both closer together. It just, there's something about vulnerability that just enables trust.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do.
I do. So how good am I at being vulnerable?
You're 100% better than you were when we met.
That shows you how bad I was before. So, which is okay.
You're doing well, doing great.
Doing well.
Yeah.
Mike always says, like, you're not my patient. I'm not going to therapize you. And so my trick is to say, so Mike, I know this lady and she's married to a really great guy and this is what's happening. And he'll just call me out and be like, no, we can't theorize. It's fine. I know you're talking about me. Right?
That's right. I learned your tricks.
It is. All right. Okay. So in building a business, what do you think has been the hardest thing about watching me build my business?
I have to think about that one for a minute. Probably that struggle with vulnerability, that struggle with, letting other people see that this may be hard, or that you may fall down, or that watching you go through imposter syndrome was difficult to kind of push through.
Yeah.
We all have it, right? We all grow up thinking, who are we to do this or try something big, or we think small because our central nervous system likes it that way, so that we don't become, we don't fall too far when we fall down. But watching you try to expand and do that, it was super fun, just watching you grow. But it was also a little scary because I didn't, I love you and I don't want to watch you fall down.
Right.
So it was dichotomous for me, for sure.
Huh. Yeah, I can see that. I feel like everything was so new to me so quickly, right? New relationship, new diagnosis, dealing with all of that, and then all of a sudden new business, and then I left the state that I grew up in, and I lived there for so long, and I moved to a new location, right? We moved up in here into Idaho Falls area, and there was so much new. It was just like coming at me from all sides. And I think your steadiness and the way that you handle me.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yes. Yeah, you handle me, and I think you handle me well. You've brought out so many of qualities that I used to have, that maybe with my years of being behind the scenes and trying to hide myself, and I feel like I've broken that barrier a little bit, and
I would agree.
So much better at that.
Yeah.
So, what do you think the things are that you did to help me? I mean, I know you supported me, you did all this, but if you could name like a couple things, like either specific examples or maybe tools that you taught me to make me a better person.
Tools that I taught you, I don't think I ever taught you anything. I think I just helped you realize who you are.
Yeah.
Right? Just supported you through that. One of our favorite is the E plus R equals O example, right?
Yes.
So that's event plus response equals outcome. I think I didn't do it directly, but I think I helped you realize that however you respond to the things that happen to you directly influence the outcome. And you've always had that. I always joke with you. You're definitely the more positive one in our relationship, or you were until I've caught up with you, right? But just your response to life events, like when you were diagnosed with breast cancer. I mean, for me, I was, just so everybody knows, you texted me that.
I don't know. I don't remember that.
So I'm in a meeting and I get this text. But no, just helping you realize there and watch your ability to conquer. And so I don't know if I necessarily used any tool or cognitively, consciously helped you through anything.
Yeah.
But I was able to recognize the true you coming through. And I think that directly correlates to how you do business. When I watch you in a boardroom, when I watch you on a call or I listen to you, it's amazing the level of integration and level of dedication you have for your clients and have for the room. I mean, you are spot on all the time. And I'm like, wow, I need to gain some of those skills. Squirrel. I kind of squirrel off every once in a while. So yeah, I love that about you. It's just your dedication to the process and getting things done. If you have something in mind, it's gonna get done, whether I get in your way or not.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Get in my way.
Yeah.
Okay, so if ladies, if you ever need an ego boost, invite your husband onto your podcast and ask him to say good things about you. So
You didn't ask me to say
that
good
was
things about you.
amazing. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now I'm gonna blush for a minute.
Perfect.
And I was what my response to that is like, wow, thank you. Thank you so much. That, that will always give me a little bit of a boost. Well, because, when it's your husband, you're like, well, you have to say that. You have to be nice to me. But I've realized, I've had a lot of life experiences and you don't. You don't have to be nice, right? And some people aren't.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, but I appreciate you being candid and truthful. And, my response to that is to say, well, you just handle me with so much amazingness.
Oh, okay.
Because I have learned a lot from you. I really, really have. And it's been awesome. So,
Likewise.
all right. Okay, so one more question on the business side of stuff.
Okay.
How would you, and this can be me, and you feel free to use some examples from our marriage if you'd like, or our businesses, that's totally fine.
Okay.
But how do you give feedback to your spouse about their business or their work even without sounding like their boss?
Kindly. In a kind manner.
Yeah.
I always look at it this way. If I have feedback and I think it's valid, or I think it would be helpful, right? I'm not the guy, if you don't know me, I'm not the guy that thinks I'm right all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, that's not my MO at all. But if I feel strongly about something, or if I see something, I usually phrase it in a type of question. In the therapist mind, right?
Yeah.
I always help you come up with your own ideas. Try to help. I don't want to say trick you, because that's not the right way.
Right.
But help you along the path to figure out that this is your idea and you know the answer. And if it matches up with my idea, great. If it doesn't, that's okay. This is your world. This is your universe.
Yeah.
And so I think as far as giving you feedback, I'm not sure if it's feedback as much as just, hey, this is how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this will be helpful. If it resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, you'll figure something else out.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's my job or my position to obviously say this is how it should be done.
Okay.
Because as a couple, I don't think we've ever not figured something out together.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes one or the other of us is a little more forceful, but as far as feedback or as far as business goes, you're the talent, right? You're the one that knows. You're the one that knows EOS. You're the one that has all of that. It would be similar to me, you telling me how to do therapy, right? I'd be
It's
like,
true.
I'll consider that.
Well, we've often talked that I would not be a good therapist because I just look at people and say, well, stop doing the thing. Just stop it. And apparently
That's your feedback.
That's my feedback. Just stop doing that. Me and Bob Newhart, right? We can do that, but we would not end up being good therapists. So I think with me we were talking about this last week. And I think for me, so I'd like your honest feedback on this one. You were talking about some stuff. We were talking about your business, right? And building and doing some biz dev and that kind of thing. And I basically said, are you open to me asking you some hard questions about what's going on in your business?
Of course.
Yeah. So tell me about that.
If I remember correctly, we're sitting in the living room on the couch.
Yes.
Yeah. And I answered to the affirmative. Of course, you can ask me some hard questions. And I was a little scared. But no, I basically, in a nutshell, I think I was looking to you as the business, process expert. And you had, I loved it that you asked if you could ask those questions.
Ask
Like,
the
hey, do you
hard
mind if I ask you some hard
questions.
questions?
Yeah.
And my first thought was, uh-oh. But then, yeah, but they were
Okay.
great. I mean, the questions were spot on, very, goal directed. They helped me understand that the places I wanted to go required this and this and this and this. They required more input, more activity from, more attention, probably is a
Yeah.
better way to look at it.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Attention to detail in these areas or attention to this specific item. If you want this, maybe consider doing this, right? Those type of sentiments.
Yeah.
But you always deliver things so in a non-threatening manner. So I
Do it or else.
do it or else. The high school principal philosophy, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think we talked about a scorecard a little bit, right? Using an EOS term.
Yeah.
A scorecard is a list of things that you would do on a weekly basis, activity-based things that drive revenue, and really talking through that. So I think we came up with some good ideas.
Yeah, we
for
did.
that one.
Great ideas.
All right.
Absolutely.
One thing that I've really struggled with that I think that you have helped me with, like Sean's work has helped me with this, the inner blueprint, is feeling that ambition and wanting more is selfish. And I don't know if that's like a paradigm that I had from growing up or the culture that I lived in or what that is, but it's like, I can't be too successful. I can't want too much. How do people work through that?
So that is a key concept of mindset work, right? That idea that being ambitious is somehow wrong. To use your kind of follow up on your terminology, paradigms are a set of beliefs, core values, emotions, things that we carry around with us in our subconscious, right?
Yeah.
We were born without paradigms. We were born without we didn't even know what language we were going to speak, right? When we were born. Where we gain these self-limiting beliefs are along the way, and they're put there by somebody else. Think how crazy that is, right? Everything we think about ourselves, not everything, most everything, 95% of what we think about ourselves, the way we act, what we tell ourselves we can or cannot do, that was put there by somebody else, right? And so when you're talking about ambition, what do you learn when you're a kid? Money is the root of all evil. Gluttony is bad. I mean, all of these things, which there is some wisdom in some of those things, right? And I think the idea of most social constructs or religion or parenting is to teach some humility in a sense that we want to be good to other people as well. But I think what's lost in that is ambition becomes a bad word, right? It becomes worldly. It becomes something that is bad to chase after or to have the idea to obtain. So I think to answer your question, busting through those, we have to basically reparent ourselves, rewrite those paradigms through repetition, saying it's okay to be ambitious. For example, Sean Foyer always says, it's okay to want to make a bunch of money because think of what you can do with that money to help other people.
Right.
And I think if that's your mindset, if that's your construct, if I want to make $1 million next year, and it's for me to buy a Lamborghini, that's still okay. But if I want to make $1 million next year so that I can reach further with mindset work, or I can reach more people, or my platforms can become larger, and I can do more work.
Right.
I think there's no reason that you can't have that goal or have that ambition.
I love that. Yeah. Well, I sprung this on my husband last year, early on our trip, actually, that my goal is to fund some sort of like an animal shelter, because I love animals so much.
Don't cry.
I know. I love them so much. If I could, I would have like 50 dogs.
She
and
would
lots
have
of
50 dogs.
Cats and all the things. And so like that's part of what drives me a little bit is I want to have that extra, disposable income that I'm like helping these cute little animals find forever homes and those type of things. And it's like, that's okay. That's okay to want that. If I don't do it, who will? And so I got to do it. That's my thing, right? How can I 10x my impact in the world, right? And it's if I'm doing what I love, right, with who I love, getting compensated appropriately, right, those type of things, there's going to be time for other ambitions, and I'm going to be able to make a huge impact on the world around me. whatever
Absolutely.
that is. Because I feel like right now, I'm already making an impact on small businesses and people and helping them grow, especially right here in Idaho Falls. There are so many small businesses here, and every single one of them just wants to be better and get better at what they're doing. With EOS, I tell people a lot. They are the master of their craft, right? The construction people that I work with, they're really, really good at the construction side. What they struggle with is that business side. And so that's where I step in to say, hey, you're the master of your craft. I'm the master of mine. Let's just collaborate and work together, and we'll just make this whatever you want it, right? Mm-hmm. Let's build the business of your dreams. Mm-hmm. And I love that. So being able to 10x my impact on these businesses, as well as the stuff that I wanted to do personally, right? Because it also 10x is me in a way. I just keep building on myself, which I love.
I love that.
So, well, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. All right. So, if you guys haven't figured it out by now, like, Mike is an amazing guy.
You're way too kind.
I'm not. I'm probably not kind enough, but meeting him was one of the major catalysts in my life that really helped me pivot and continue working on the stuff that I'd already been working on, right? I'd been through a series of relationships that were not good for me, but I was the common denominator. It was me. And so I started working on myself. I've told the story, in other podcasts and speaking and stuff like that, but I needed to work on myself. And then just having you pop into the picture, just kind of 10x'd that. I think we were both at a different level, and now we just keep leveling up over and over and over again.
It's like we're chasing each other up the hill.
Kind of. Yeah, I think so. I think so.
You're winning right now.
No, I was just going to say, I think you're winning. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing lately? Mike wrote a book and I'm, hanging out. No, it's been really, really great. I've loved watching you grow over the past 6 months, and just leveling up, and the book and the mindset stuff and how you've integrated that with your therapy practice and those type of things. And it's just been super. Yeah. I mean, it's just been so amazing. And that's where I'm coming from, like saying, oh my gosh, like what's next for me? Because Mike just surpassed me a little bit on that level. And what do I need to do to just be up there with him, right?
I've never really thought about that. But that's the funny thing of our relationship is we're so competitive together, but it's such a friendly competition.
Yeah.
And if you're winning, great. Doesn't bother me.
That's true. That's true. All right. All right. So what is the thing that you invest most in our relationship?
My heart. Absolutely. And I haven't always been that way, I don't think, but just meeting the person that I finally realized works for me. Right. And I'm never going to talk bad about past relationships. That's not my style, but sometimes they just didn't mesh well.
Yeah.
There wasn't a good fit, or there wasn't the same goals, but you made that dang list that you made of all the qualities in a guy that you liked. And I think the cool part about that wasn't just for you, right? Because me matching a lot of, all but one or two, and I know there's two I fell short on or something.
No, that's fine.
But me matching those qualities was for me as well. I was able to say, well, obviously you have those qualities or you wouldn't be looking for them in a partner.
Right. And
so I think just finding that and being able to fully invest, be vulnerable. I mean, it's been a whirlwind. It's been crazy what we've been through in the last 5 years, but it's been so much fun. I regret nothing over the last 5 years. It's helped me with my work life, my professional life, my practice. My kids love you. My grandkids like you more than they like me, which is a burr under my saddle a little bit. I'm still working through that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have a lot of fun. So I would say my heart, just feeling safe enough to give that to you. Right?
I love that.
I hang on to part of it though.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little.
Oh my gosh, I know. You always wear your heart on your sleeve. I know absolutely almost all the time what you're thinking.
You do.
Because I'll either know it by your face or you just say it. And that's one thing that I have struggled with a lot. Like when if you're not happy with something, like you just say it out loud. And I'm like, wait a minute, are we really supposed to be doing that? Like, aren't we supposed to just keep that inside and let it fester and be the burr under your saddle? And it's like, oh no, actually, when you talk about stuff, you can solve it and it goes away. You can learn how to be better, learn how to, those type of things. And I know we've talked a lot about like our marriage is amazing.
Yeah.
Is it always amazing? Do you think that it's always amazing?
That's a trick question.
I know, but I want you to answer.
No, it's not always amazing. I mean, think about, we've said this a lot about cancer.
Yeah.
I mean, that was rough, right? I mean, the night you fell asleep on the stairs going up to bed and I had to sit there without a phone for 30 minutes staring at the wall because I didn't want you to fall down the stairs.
Yeah.
But you literally didn't have the energy to make it upstairs.
Yeah.
And those are endearing to me.
Yeah.
Right. But no, there's been stuff, there's been things that have been difficult, but I think the key is communication, right? We talk so well and we talk about everything. We both invest capital into this relationship.
Yes.
And our compromise is bar none. I mean, in fact, it's almost too much the other way. like where do you want to eat? I don't know. You decide. No, you decide. It's your night. No, it's your night.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I love your idea though. You have the idea about how we're going to open a restaurant, and what's the name of the restaurant going to be?
Whatever you want.
Yep. Whatever you want.
I don't care. You decide.
Yes.
Because then we'll go there.
Yeah, because then we'll just go there.
Name the restaurant.
That's going to be
I
our
don't care. You
restaurant
decide.
because then you just know exactly where to go.
Yeah.
Discussion over.
Yeah.
No argument, no nothing. That's
Exactly.
wherever you want. There it is.
I think you decide what would work.
Yeah, you decide.
We'll just call it that.
You decide, and that's awesome. No, but we do. I mean, we do have disagreements, right? And I think, but just knowing that this is a marriage that's going to work. We've obviously both been married before. This is the one where we finally found the perfect match. Right. And it's really funny because looking at our tastes and stuff like that, like we barely like the same music. We don't like
the same music.
I was trying to be nice. Country music is good, but like he has a different taste. Yeah. We went to the symphony on Saturday and I'm just in awe. And I know you were enjoying it, but it's just not your cup of tea.
Well, I had a glass of wine.
Yeah, that's true. That helps.
I was fine. That helped.
That helps. But like food, music, even sometimes our vacations, right? I think Disneyland is like the best vacation ever. And
I've never been there.
I would need to handcuff you to me and drag you there.
Well, there's no beach.
Yeah, I know. There's not.
Okay.
There's not, but it's okay. But it's funny because they say opposites attract, but then sometimes you have trouble finding that common ground.
Right.
And I feel like with the stuff that we do, we found that common ground.
Yeah.
And so, what advice would you give somebody if you feel like they get to that point in their marriage? Like there was that connection and it was awesome. And, the opposite stuff worked for a while, right? They like to hike and they taught you how to hike or golf, right? That's with us. Like you've taught me golf and oh my gosh, it's so awesome. But what would be your advice for a marriage?
Well, I think, I always try to vet out, was it a genuine compromise? In other words, did you really like hiking? When we got together, right? To use your example, you hear it all the time in couples counseling. This didn't used to be an issue. Well, why did it become an issue? And that's something that takes a little while to vet out, I think, and to understand. Sometimes it's because they were faking it, right? Fake it till you make it, or they were, they call it the honeymoon phase. And what does that mean? It means there's a high level of compromise on both sides, and I think over time that can build resentment. People get tired of trying. The normalcy kind of grows into effect, and it becomes less of a novelty and more of a relationship, right? And so in couples work, I think it's just a matter of helping people realize they were there one time. They were on the same page. And even though it may have been coerced or forced or even faked, what do you want now? Yeah. Do you want to go back to that situation? Do you want to set up new rules within the relationship that say, you don't like the kind of music I like, but that's okay? I think a lot of it is just like we talked about earlier, that compromise. Yeah. And most couples that don't do well and that end up in separation or divorce, I think the compromise just kind of goes out the window. There's just no, I always ask them, and that's a saying I've used, do I love my partner more than I have the need to be correct? And sometimes, I know that seems funny, but some battles, aren't worth fighting. Some hills
That's
are,
true.
I don't want to die on that hill.
Don't need-
So I love you more than I need to be correct in this.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. And I can let this one go.
Yeah, I need to type that into my notes. It's a good thing we have a transcript of this.
That's right.
I can go back and look at that. That's awesome.
What did he say?
What did he say? Oh, yeah. I love you more than I need to be right. I do have a shirt that says, I'm not arguing. I'm just telling you why I'm right.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's what it is. Okay, with that in mind, like, how do you recover when you say something dumb to your spouse?
I never have. So I don't know.
You don't know? All right. How do you recover?
Well, the way that I handle it, obviously, and you know me, you've seen it 100 times. First, I apologize, and then I ask for feedback, right? I'm like, how could I have handled that better? Or, I think, once again, we're at communication. If I say something dumb or offensive, I'm always quick to say, that probably wasn't the neatest thing I could have said, or the most fundamental. Maybe it was the most fundamental, but
Right.
I think it's just a matter of saying, look, we have a differing opinion here. Mine is different than yours. I didn't need to express it in that manner, and I apologize for speaking it that way. Our listeners probably don't, but that I'm quick I let things go on a dime.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I get over things in 3 minutes,
Right.
And I know you're not that way. And so I think I try really hard to let you know, hey, look, I messed up there.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that if I offended you or I was insensitive.
Yeah.
And now hurry up and let's move on.
Right? You do move on very fast. And I am a grudge holder. But I would say that, like, living with you and being with you has helped me get over that.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm better at it now.
I agree.
Right? It's like I wanted to hold on to stuff. If you would do something, you said something wrong or did something I didn't like, I wanted to hold on to it and, I don't know, punish you for it, which sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud. I think it's crazy when I would hold on to these grudges and just want to punish you for them, which sounds just absolutely ridiculous saying it out loud. Solve the problem, get over it, and then never have to deal with it again. And so I remember one time you asked me, like, what about you bugs me? Because I think you were trying to say it as a compliment, saying you're just so easygoing. I don't do anything wrong, or you just are holding it all in, or I don't know.
I do remember that. So what was it?
So it's something, I did have the opportunity to make like a huge long list of stuff, but not really, because there's really not a lot. Both of us have so much experience, right? I mean, you're older than I am. You've lived more years.
Sure, throw that out there.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. You're very young at heart, my love. But we brought our backgrounds and everything together into this marriage, and you've done things the way that you do them your whole life. That's fine. And I do things. I'm sure there's stuff about you that bugs me, but
absolutely not.
Yes, whatever. So I'll tell you one thing is I have 2 pictures in my phone. One is how Tricia loads the dishwasher.
Oh, jeez.
And how Mike loads the dishwasher.
You do not have pictures in your phone.
Because one day I was like, when I pulled out the silverware thing, I'm like, this is so easy to put everything away because all the knives are together, all the forks are together, and the spoons and everything. And you just grab them and shove them in the drawer. But on the flip side of that, when you do it, you just pop them in whatever. And so it's like you have to pull them out one by one. And I am the queen of efficiency.
Yes, you are.
Yes. And so, man, just grabbing all the knives and putting them in the drawer, and it's like 30 seconds when you do. And, if I had to say one thing, I would say, man, can you load the dishwasher better? But then I look and say, why don't I just load the dishwasher myself? Right. So there's that little bit of compromise, because if I have to unload it.
If you're going to be nice enough to load the dishwasher, will you please do it right?
Right. One thing I will never do, though, is take what you've done and undo it and redo it, because that's inefficient in itself.
Right.
So I'm not going to spend double time.
Absolutely.
But yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, and we talked about, like, I like to inspect them. I'm a little OCD, right? So
right.
If I put 10 knives together and I grab them all at once, I don't know what's in the middle of that pack.
No.
It could be a dirty knife.
No, you never know.
Right.
Well, see, that's the job of the dryer. I remember my grandma, she was a great lady, but the way she taught us to do dishes is the way that my mom taught us to do dishes, right? Is like, it's the person washing the dishes does a great job, but it's the person who dries the dishes to just make sure that it's actually clean, right? So if you pull a knife out of the drawer and it's just a little dirt, you just buff it off. It's fine. Yeah, you can do that.
That's really messing with my OCD right now. I'm a little worried. I'm gonna do the dishes from now on.
No, he already does the dishes most of the time. He's the best. You are the best, honestly. I know one day sometimes I'm like, hey babe, look what I did today. I emptied the dishwasher just for you because I want all the accolades.
And I'm so happy about it.
Good job.
I'm so
Good
happy
job,
about
babe.
it.
I know, it's great. So
Absolutely.
all right. So we do fight a little bit every once in a while. Not about like major things. Like we're really good. But there's been days. Yeah, right. Been days. We have an amazing marriage. But what's the best way for people to fight? What's the right way for marriages or for people who are married to actually have conversations where it can get a little heated? What's the best way to handle that?
That's funny because I ask in couples therapy, I ask that all the time. How can you fight better?
Yeah.
And we've talked about this a little bit already, but just that need to not have to be right all the time.
Yeah.
I've had couples come in that I've given that homework assignment. How can you fight better? What are better ways? And they've come up with some really unique ideas. Like some of them I can't tell you because they involved nakedness.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's been times when they come in and say, well, it's hard to fight when you're hugging each other or holding hands or
Right.
and I think a big skill is active listening.
Yeah.
If you think about it, and not you and me necessarily, but in the human interaction dynamic, you can usually form an idea what somebody's asking you or saying to you in the first 4, 5, 6 words of the sentence.
Right.
And then what happens to the rest of that sentence? It's gone.
Yeah, because
Right?
I'm trying to formulate
Yeah.
my response to you.
And then you're just waiting for me to finish.
Right.
And once again, not necessarily us, but that's how we speak.
Never do that.
Yeah, that's how we speak. And so active listening is a practice of listening to the entire sentiment, all of the words, then taking a beat and either paraphrasing or clarifying.
Yeah.
Say, okay, this is what I heard you say. Is this accurate? And then that gives you the opportunity to reframe or restate if it's not exactly what the sentiment you wanted to get across. It's a little bit work intensive because it does make communication an actual task rather than just something we do. But there is so much lost in the human connection with verbal communication. A huge part of what you communicate with are your nonverbals, your body language, your eye rolls. Not that you would ever roll your eyes.
I would never roll my eyes.
But yeah, so active listening incorporates verbal, nonverbal, facial tension, all of those things.
Yeah.
But it's a practice of listening until your partner is done communicating and then formulating a response. And it gives you time to formulate a response that's non-aggressive, maybe less aggressive.
Yeah.
It gives you time to think about how you want to respond rather than just that knee-jerk, kind of fighting.
Right. So what I'm hearing you say is that it's okay to fight.
Absolutely.
It's okay to fight.
I think it's essential
Okay.
in a relationship.
It's essential in a relationship. So I talk a lot about how businesses grow, right? They grow not on a steady line, as much as we would want, right? Straight up trajectory, we're growing, we're doing all the things. They grow in phases, kind of like how children grow, right? Growth is also uncomfortable, right? You grow and then you hit what we call a revolution, right? You hit the ceiling and it's kind of a chaotic time or it's frustrating or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking of doing this podcast today and I was like, that's how relationships grow too with people, right? You're going really great and then something weird happens out of the ordinary or you have a big fight. And then it's like, how do you get back onto that trajectory again, where you're continuing to grow forward? And I guess maybe with us, because you are so easy to get along with and live with, I think that's just been natural for us. We hit a point, and then we push through it. A lot of the stuff that we've been through, the cancer and the moving and the businesses and those type of things. hindsight being 2020 is just great.
Yeah,
You can
hindsight.
see all this and how we worked through it.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
And just to add to that, fighting doesn't necessarily mean adversarial. It doesn't mean anger. It doesn't equal anger. I think a fight indicates there's a problem. There's something that needs to be discussed or worked out. There's a compromise that needs to be found.
Okay.
Fighting doesn't, and maybe as therapists we need to come up with a whole new word for the word for fight. But I think if you can look at it as debate or discussion or problem solving endeavor or exercise, but yeah, fighting in the true sense or the sense of the word, fighting is not always unhealthy. Healthy couples do disagree. Healthy couples do get into fights, not in the sense of what fight means to most people,
Right.
but it's just an effort to problem solve and get past an issue. And it's usually, if you listen to your body, if you listen to the relationship, it's indicative or a symptom of something could be wrong or going awry.
Yeah.
And it's great to take care of it and get it off the table.
I love that. I love that so much. So everyone's homework is to come up with a better word for fight.
Yeah.
Right? I liked PSE, problem solving endeavor.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I'll start using that.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Okay, absolutely.
All right. Oh, this has been so awesome.
Yeah.
Every time we speak, I learn something new about you. And it's just been
Have
amazing.
lots of secrets.
You do have lots of secrets. I don't know. Yeah, last Friday I think we hung out for a while at our house and just I was following you around while you were doing stuff and getting ready, and we just had some of the best conversations. Just I don't know, it was awesome.
We do have a lot. I mean, I'm going to throw out there. I think we're fairly, I know we're lucky just to have found each other at this point in life. But I also know that we both put the work in, and I think that's a lot of what I see in couples therapy is fatigue, relationship fatigue, and just not want to invest anymore. Your body tells you that you've invested way too much, and there's a financial term called the point of diminished return.
Yes.
And if you think about it, if you invest in a stock or a mutual fund or something over and over and over, and it just keeps failing, and it keeps not giving you dividends and returns, eventually you reach the point of diminished return where you say, I'm dumping that.
Yeah.
And in relationship work, that's what I help them avoid, is hitting that point of diminished return, finding good returns on that investment through improving the relationship is essential. So
I love that.
yeah.
I love that. Well, yeah. I mean, my parents have been married
50,
almost 60 years.
Yeah.
Almost 60 years. And it's like, a lot, I think people hear like, oh, back in the day, they just stuck through it. And, but as old people get older, they tend to fall apart, or, grow apart, and then they get divorced. But I see my parents and the loving relationship that they still have to this day.
They are amazing.
They're just awesome. And so like life is hard.
Yeah.
Marriage is hard. It can be challenging, but it's also so rewarding.
Yeah.
And I think concentrating on that, we know what you focus on improves. And so focusing on the good parts of your marriage, would you agree? Focusing on the good parts of your marriage can help those things multiply, and see the other things, the stuff that I want to hold the grudges on, right? That's diminished.
Yeah.
There's no reason for me to keep doing that because everything else is so amazing. The little stuff, just I don't have to sweat it, right? The dishwasher is fine when you load it, and I can handle unloading it after it's washed. That's totally fine.
It takes so much longer. I'm so sorry. I'll work on it.
I know, right? Efficiency.
Yeah, exactly.
So, oh man. Well, Mike, oh my heck. You're the best.
Oh, of course I'm going to be here. I love you. This was fun.
So much. This was really, really fun. I'm so glad that you came here. So, again, the book, The Work of Being Human, available on Amazon.
Available on Amazon.
Available
you can
on
search
Amazon.
the title, The Work of Being Human, or my name,
Yeah,
Michael Hartley.
Michael Hartley.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
PSE, right? Problem solving endeavors. That's what we're working on today.
Yes.
We talked about a lot of stuff today, but what I'm the most surprised about is how relationships are very, very similar to businesses and leadership teams and growing. Growing your relationship, growing your business. There's so much that can be correlated there. And that's been awesome to learn more from you about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, thank you.
It's a great correlation. I think you're spot on.
Yeah. So how can people get a hold of you if they are interested in working with you?
Several ways. They can send me a text or call 208-557-1878. My website's www.hartleymindset.com. And my email is mike@hartleymindset.com. So, I'm over on Washington Parkway. We're actually moving in together in 2 weeks into the same office space.
Same office.
Oh, no, that's going to be a trial.
It's not going to be a trial. It's going to be amazing. I was like, ooh, we're going to carpool.
Heck
It's
yeah.
going to be so much fun.
It'll be great. I'm excited.
Awesome. Yeah, new office space. That'll be really, really good.
Yeah.
So I'll have my own office outside the house and a great session room for my clients. I'm very, very excited about that. Yeah. So
And
that's
a
gonna be
little
great.
plug for Inner Blueprint, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about Sean Foyer, just an amazing man out of Salt Lake City. Good friend of both of ours now. But Sean has developed a program based on, really goes back as far as Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
Not Napoleon Dynamite,
Right.
but Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich back in
Yes.
like 1934, right after the Great Recession.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But that he is one of Sean's main mentors, and Sean worked with Jack Canfield and Bob Proctor.
Yes.
And so Sean has developed this program called Inner Blueprint, and I'm so fortunate, and you know this. Sean invited me in to be one of his first consultants, and so basically what I'm doing is I go out and use his program, and I get online with powerful people who own businesses or who don't, but who want to level up and learn how to bust through paradigms and make their lives so much better. And using the Inner Blueprint has been just a godsend. I mean, it's been so fun to learn the program and learn the modules. And you're a student of Inner Blueprint. You've done it for what, 5 years?
5-6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was a little hesitant because sometimes I'm a little stubborn. And so I didn't start it until last year.
Yeah.
But I'm already so involved in it, and I'm so humbled to know that Sean trusts me with his work and has invited me into his inner circle.
Yeah.
And
He's
so
great.
I'm loving it.
It's amazing.
So if anybody has any need for
Yeah.
that kind of mindset change, business or personal, get a hold of me. We'll figure it out.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it very much. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching this episode from Stuck to Scaling. Please like, subscribe, and follow along for more. I have a great guest lineup. I'm super excited for the future and of this podcast because it's been great so far, and it's only going to get better. So it's really, really exciting. I am Tricia Drake. We'll see you in the next episode.